Welcome back to the 8th concession. My name is Natalie. It's dinner time, and tonight I wanted to whip up something that is a very ordinary meal in our house. It's comfort food for us, and that is Frikadellen. Now, that's a German name for something that you might already be familiar with, because I believe in other parts of the world it's also known as hamburger steak or Salisbury steak. It's not exactly the same as that, but it's pretty close. And the reason we love it so much is it's quick and easy, and it's budget friendly. Now, these days, the price of food, every time I go to the store, it's just going through the roof. It's kind of panic mode when you go shopping. So this is a meal that I can rely on to keep my budget in check. The other thing I really like about it is most of the ingredients are things I can grow in my garden. And that's really great for keeping costs down. Now, except for the ground beef, but we buy our beef by the side or full cow. I split it with my grown children, so we can get a better price on our meat that way and keep the quality of our meat high. So the rest of the ingredients for this meal, we're going to have frikadellen with gravy, potatoes, and fried cabbage. Now, the onions for this meal come from my garden. They were free because I collect my own seed. The cabbage is not from my garden yet because it's not far enough into the season for my cabbages to have grown. But once they are bigger, I can make this meal again and use the cabbages that only cost me seed and soil and some water. What else is there? Potatoes I usually grow in my garden. Now, the other ingredient here is mushrooms. Now, that's not something we grow here on the 8th concession, although it is a project I'd like to try to see if I can do it. But for now, I've had to buy them at the store. And a little bit of bacon and some sauces, and there you go. So that's the exciting part, because gardening is not just about growing the plants, but finding delicious ways to eat the food that you grow. Let's get started. Well, I have my potatoes peeled and on the stove, but I haven't turned them on yet. I want to have them ready because these don't take long to make. I'm going to prepare my patties first. So you can see I have a pound of very lean ground beef. I have an egg. I have some onion. I have some of my Rustic Rub, and I can link the recipe down below. It's a blend of spices, including salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, a bit of cayenne, and I think some oregano. It's a great blend that we use for a lot of our meat. So I'm going to put that in as seasoning, and then panko breadcrumbs to bind it all together. The first thing I want to do is prepare the onion. Now, I'm not going to use all of this onion just for the meat. Some of it's going to be for the gravy, and some is going to be for the fried cabbage. And I have my grater here, as you can see, because for the patties themselves, it's nice to grate the onion. My kids don't really like my family doesn't really like to bite into onion pieces. So this is a great way to get that fresh onion flavor in without biting into it. Sorry, I had to stop there for a moment. That's one thing you'll notice when you start growing your own onions. They are so much stronger than the ones you get in the store that the minute you cut into them, you just start crying. It's great though. The flavor is so much better. Now, I did grate as much as I could, but I can see there's some pieces here. I don't need to take my knuckles off. So I'm just going to chop up this last little bit here that didn't grate. Oh my goodness, my eyes are still watering, but I'm done. There, I got about that much, which will be plenty for about a pound of hamburger. So first I'm going to liberally season with the Rustic Rub, so all those spices. If you don't have Rustic Rub, salt, pepper, and garlic powder will do the job nicely. I'm gonna add in my onion. Start crying again. And I'm going to gently mix that together. You don't want to overwork your hamburger if you don't have to. Our egg. And then some panko breadcrumbs, so it's not quite so dry, or not quite so wet. That was about maybe 1/3 cup. You can use a hamburger press if you want to, or if you have one. My mother always fashioned them by hand. About a pound of lean ground beef will make between 4 and 6, I would say, patties, depending on how big or small you make them. Doesn't matter if they're not a perfect shape, not perfectly round, but you do want them a uniform thickness so that they cook evenly. Pound of ground beef actually gave me 7 patties, so bonus, leftovers. So the next thing I want to prep is the fried cabbage. Now the best thing about this side dish is you can make as much or as little as you like. And you know when your cabbage is in the fridge and it goes a bit soft, it's not really good for fresh eating like in coleslaw, but it's perfect for this dish because you're going to fry it anyway. And you can see I have a little half a head of cabbage left. The only other things you need are some onion. I like to put in a bit of bacon and a little bit of soy sauce, whatever kind you have. When I buy a pound of bacon, I always cut it in half, and then I will individually wrap maybe 2 or 3 slices in a bit of foil so that I easily have just a little bit of bacon if I'm making my German potato soup, which I'll link that recipe below. There's a bit of bacon in that. Or for fried cabbage, it's great to not have to worry about having that small amount. So I'm going to chop the cabbage and I'm going to chop a little bit of the onion and get ready to fry it. Now you can use whatever sort of fat you like to fry it in. I happen to have some bacon fat. I always save the fat from my bacon, so that just gives it a little more bacon flavor. But you can use lard if you have it. You can use butter or margarine. Just be careful, they'll burn faster. Or shortening, although there won't be as much flavor, but you will have the bacon for the flavor. And a bit of salt and pepper, and then that's it. But it is so delicious. So I'm gonna get this started right now. There, just for reference, that's about 4 cups of cabbage, about 1/4 cup of onion, and 1/3 cup chopped bacon. And I'm going to use about a tablespoon of the soy sauce in that. So I'm going to put that on to start frying because I like to do it slowly so it doesn't burn. And I'm going to do one more thing I'm going to prep before I start frying my frikadellen. I've prepped everything for the gravy that I'm gonna make once the patties are fried. And that is about 2 cups of beef broth. Now, I didn't have a carton of broth, or I hadn't canned any broth. If you've got those, good for you. I just used bouillon cube today, and I have some sliced mushrooms and some more chopped onions. So I have my cast iron pan here, and I'm just going to get some margarine, you can use butter. There you go, frikadellen with fried cabbage and mashed potatoes and a beautiful mushroom sauce. And you know, even buying store prices, this meal will come in for 4 people at around $15. In our area anyway. And if you have your own cabbage and onions and potatoes from the garden, it's even less. And it is absolutely delicious. Bye for now.